let's talk about that portal because there's a lot going on in the portal. We had Lane Kiffin tweeting today, and I think people might have taken this the wrong way. He basically retweeted an ESPN story about Duke quarterback Maalik Murphy planning to enter the transfer portal. And there were people who maybe haven't checked the bowl matchups yet that were assuming this is Lane trying to recruit Maalik Murphy. Ole Miss is playing Duke in the bowl game. It's him basically saying, oh, the really good starter for the 9-win team that we have to play in the bowl game is not playing, and pointing that out. Because I think anybody who saw Austin Simmons take over for Jackson Dart for that one drive against Georgia, you're pretty confident that that's QB1 at Ole Miss next year.
Yeah, he looked really, really good. And I guess the real question I have for you is how many conclusions can you draw off of one drive? I guess if that drive's against Georgia, I think you can draw more, right? I don't know.
I think you can draw more, and you can also draw that they, Walker Howard entering the transfer portal is telling, because that says, oh, Ole Miss probably has their guy already. But yeah, I am curious to see what happens next. Speaking of Duke, Tulane quarterback Darian Mensah. Pete Thamel reporting that Darian Mensah is going to visit Duke. So it's just musical chairs. And I don't know where Maalik Murphy goes. Maalik Murphy, remember, started at Texas, had that great spring game, but obviously there's Quinn and there's Arch. And Maalik Murphy did start 2 games for Texas in 2023. But he showed himself to be very good at Duke this year. I'm assuming this is a move to the SEC or the Big Ten. I'm just not exactly sure where yet.
So he's a very interesting prospect because, if you go look, he had a pretty good year this year, and Duke finished 9-3 and probably should have been ranked.
Our friends, the best daily fantasy game in America, they have something special for us this week. First of all, download the app. If you haven't been playing it, use the code Staples when you sign up. Play $5, get $50 instantly. This week, you get essentially a free Patrick Mahomes square. Patrick Mahomes throws for a yard, you win your square. And that's how Prize Picks works. Is you're picking squares, you pick at least 2. The more you pick, the higher the potential payout. So Patrick Mahomes square, 99% off, 0.5 passing yards more than. I think he's probably going to throw for a yard. Even if he didn't, I think the Chiefs would figure out a way to win. But a game that might not feature as much passing, the Army-Navy game is this weekend. Bryson Daly's square for passing yards is 63.5. Do you think more than or less than? Here's the thing. If either of these teams are really rocking it the way they want to, they ain't throwing. So that's the question. Do you think Army is going to be as effective running the ball against Navy as it was against Tulane in the American Championship game? Because if it is, you might want to go more than 127.5 rushing yards for Bryson Daly and less than 63.5 passing yards for Bryson Daly. But I will leave that up to you as you play this weekend. Use the code Staples, play $5, get $50 instantly.
And if you've ever been around Maalik Murphy in person, and I think you have, right?
Yeah.
This guy is an absolute unit. He will have NFL draft analysts and scouts drooling, if not already. And the thing that is interesting about Maalik Murphy, Andy, is that when he joined football in general, I think he was a sophomore or junior in high school. He got a very late start, and his physical traits made him a take for Texas, knowing that he was a project. They took him knowing that he hadn't played a lot of football. So as he has gone through his development at Texas, as he had a pretty good year at Duke, leading them to a ton of wins, by the way, if he is on the verge now at his next step of taking that experience to the next level and matching it with his physical traits, I think, and I don't know if this is hyperbolic, that whoever gets him could have a first-round pick at quarterback next year. So, this is, if you think that he can reach his potential. So, I don't know, when you say Big Ten and SEC, I agree with you. I felt like this move is a move up, right? Isn't that how you took this?
It would have to be. And so Interestingly enough, Tyler Van Dyke went into the transfer portal from Wisconsin. Remember, he was supposed to be the Wisconsin starter this year. He gets hurt against Alabama, out for the season. It sounds like Tyler Van Dyke may be headed to Duke, where he would reunite with Manny Diaz, who was the coach who signed him originally at Miami.
Right.
This is classic transfer portal dot connecting.
So do you think that Tyler Van Dyke is the response to Maalik Murphy going in, or the reason for Maalik Murphy?
I'm guessing response.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know where Maalik is going to end up, but anybody who listened to this show or until Saturday while you and I were apart, like I was obsessed with him. You know how I get with 11 guys who have the physical traits.
Especially guys who have a great spring game. Everybody loves the guy who has the great spring game.
Well, he also, like, I thought played fairly well in his spot starts for Texas to preserve their playoff run last year.
That K-State game was a little, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was thrilling, but they won, right?
They did.
And that was a year and a half ago. So combine the measurables and what he's physically able to do with experience. I mean, that was always going to be the thing with him, whether he stayed at Texas or not. And where would you put him? You go put him at a Wisconsin, or you go put him at a place like that, and you match him up with some guys. Maybe that would be great. I don't know. What if he went to Penn State or something? Like, that would be incredible.
And we don't know what Penn State situation. We assume it's Bo Perbula because they've been putting him into games and using him quite a bit, but we don't know that yet. So that's the tricky part with all this.